Hey everybody, happy President's Day if you've been enjoying that. I don't know how many of you have had a day off. I guess we don't here at Wallace, but so anyway, some of you did, some of you didn't. We're going to go right into our first review, feedback review, and it is Bryce. And Bryce had some really good notes. I thought it was funny that no one would pose for him, and I love how the wood really works with this first image. And I think it was Belinda that noticed the reflection in the glasses. And for me, it's all about how the light connects the image. So if you're familiar with composition, which we've talked about that a little bit earlier, our eye kind of moves through the composition of this image really just easily. It's got this diagonal going on here. The light is beautiful. You've got a reflection. You've got this warmth that works with the red, and I think this is great. And the fact that you're, kind of a high-profile baseball player in a college setting, I'm excited that that was what you chose to represent in your still life images. And I think this one is good too. I like how the leather works with the wood. It's like natural materials, and again, we've got really nice lighting that's surrounding the mitt. And I'm so proud of you for going with like an old school type of still life. And this is the kind of things that they would paint in, during the Renaissance and medieval times even. So this turned out really well. And I love that you achieved that solid black background. And this one is nice as well. So I think you did a great job this week, Bryce. My number one favorite has to be that first one. And, if you're going for a baseball theme, you might want to have, like, I'm going to talk a little bit more about your portfolios. So this week we start really serious types of photography rather than just building up to it. So still life photography might be your favorite thing, and you might want to choose that to be a category on your website. So you're going to need at least 3 categories, and then one additional, which will be personal choice, and we'll talk a lot more about that in the weeks to come. So if you wanted to do a little section that was still life with a theme of baseball, those two would work really well. So you would just need a third. And then I like these images as well. That could be a separate still life category. Okay, so let's go back and see the next person. Here's Astrid. I'm really proud of Astrid because I told her that she asked if she could use her OC characters in her final artwork, so the final artwork for this class is like a photograph. And so I said, as long as she maintains the integrity of the image, which is, our priority, that's fine if she adds other things beyond that, so she's kind of creating a digital collage with a photograph as the base. So this is nice, and I do wonder about that reflection. I think that's kind of interesting, and it works well with your character. So you really fit that character on there so perfectly. And kudos to you, Astrid. Wow. It's just, it's perfectly drawn to fit onto this image. For me, I would say, I know that, you want to include, you don't want anyone to steal your artwork, which I agree with. But I think I would go with, what's it called? Hold on. I just remembered. It's a watermark. So if you added a watermark to your image, then, and you can just look that up on your search engine, how to add a watermark. It's pretty simple. You can do it in Photoshop, and there are other ways you can do it as well. And adding that, no one can steal your image, but yet your image, we don't have this distracting title right in the image. And then that's a cool filter. It works with your subject. I think it's great. It even works with that little, light aberration there in the background. This image I absolutely love. I want you to look up Irving Penn. He did a lot of cool black and white photographs of still lifes and in his day, it's like 50s and 60s. But I want you to check him out, and I do want you to use this for your final portfolio. But I want you to crop it so that we can't tell that it's fake. So there's like, you're suspending disbelief. So, it could be a person just wearing a glove and an actual real hand. So I love that about it. I love the background. I love the lighting. I love these little lighting where it's just touching the edges. I think that's a fantastic photo. And then where you added your OC into that photo, again, just really seamless, and I love how it's kind of draping over the edge of the hand there. What a great idea. And you've got your raw files. Okay, perfect. All right, let's go back to our next person, and that's Belinda. And Belinda did, she had some great backgrounds, and I love that you chose to choose that you chose things that were about things that were really personally meaningful to you. This one came out great. Love the lighting. It's seamless. The hat, and I have to agree with, I think Cody mentioned this, that it's really dark. So one thing about that is that the longer that you get your viewer to look at an image, the more successful you are. So people are spending time with this trying to figure out what it is, and so that makes it successful. But I would still like to see a little bit of, if you go into editing and you increase the exposure a little bit, so we can light that up a little bit and highlight what it really is. And these two little birds are cute too. And I wonder, you say that you have a softbox. Did you make a DIY softbox, or did you really get a softbox? I am dying to know. So Belinda, you've just got to send me a message and let me know what happened there. Because I just, love the terminology. I love it when you guys are doing research above and beyond what is required of you. And having a softbox would be that for sure. Okay, and here is Sid. The camera battery died. I love that because that's happened to me so many times. And I don't mean to laugh. I'm just, connecting with you there on that frustration. So of your images, and I really was interested in reading your story, and I can tell that you have a little one at home just from all of these images. It's so great. I like this image I like what's going on with the background. I only wish you hadn't used Flash. Flash is like the bane of my existence. It's really so frustrating to me because it's often so unflattering. So I never ever use Flash. I just don't. I feel like I'm going to use whatever light I can come up with rather than ever use Flash. Because your built-in camera flash is just never good. Now, if you could get an external flash, and that's like way beyond the scope of this class, then, you know, you could do some lighting in that way. And I've had a lot of fun with that if you've ever looked at my website, ChristinaEdmondsPhoto.com. Yeah, I think that's attached to my name in this at Wallace. But this image right here is so fascinating. It's my favorite for sure. I love the reflections. I love how it kind of lends an air of mystery. It's almost like things are floating because of this reflection from the windows and the reflection of the cups. It's fascinating. So I definitely love that picture. And then this one right here is an example of top-down lighting or a top-down view. And so this week when you get into food photography, you might choose to use that type of positioning to photograph, you know, whatever the food is that you've chosen. So I thought that was an exciting segue into food photography. Okay, next is Donovan. And Donovan, I was surprised that you've got this. You said it was an old bobblehead, but it really is an old bobblehead. It's like Buddy Lee's Lee Jeans. He was a little like gift with purchase, you know, promotional item in the 20s up until the 60s. And so if they're in decent shape, you can make, you know, anywhere from 50 to 150 bucks on this little guy. But I mean, I know if he's special to you, you might want to keep him. And plus his, you know, his head is a little bit wonky. But still, you know, this is a sellable item. Okay, I thought it was interesting that you used the cabinet on, wasn't it under the sink? In the bathroom, yeah. So it looks like a small room. Now, if I was going to edit this photo, I would probably use like either clone stamp or patch tool and get rid of these because those are kind of telltale details that show it's inside, you know, like a manufactured cabinet. But I do like that, you know, that little bit of lighting that's very low. So this is an interesting image. This one is just weird, only because the angle of the head is just so bizarre. It's hard to make sense of, but again, we've got this interesting light. This one would be exceptional because I love the lighting coming in through the blinds. And the Chick-fil-A box, oh my gosh, that is just really adds to this. But if I were going to make this a portfolio image, I would probably go into Camera Raw filter, so filter Camera Raw in Photoshop, and then select your subject, and then get rid of this background. Just completely get rid of it. And you'll still have this beautiful lighting. And you can also always choose to bring, you know, leave in lighting, or I'm sorry, the background that's the blinds. You know, so you can choose to leave in some of it. But yeah, I think just the figure and also maybe the toothbrush, because we've got this angle from the eyes of the figure to the brush that make it almost feel like, you know, some kind of interest or even a love story if you want to stretch it. But yeah, I really like that one. Okay, next one is Abby. So Abby really had fun here, and I can tell you did a ton of research, and you know I just adore that. And I would have the same recommendation for you as I did for Donovan. I would honestly, if it's a raw file, you know, you can do it in Camera Raw, but if you're going into Photoshop, you could select the subject, which is going to select all of this, and then just get rid of this background or make it all black. And I think that that would improve that image. This one you could do that as well, but you're going to get that patterning in the water. I wanted to point out that another easier way to get that effect with water is to just clean out a spray bottle. I mean, you don't even really need to clean it out, but just put water in like a fine mist spray bottle, you know, like you would have for, I don't know, anything that was sprayable, like a liquid hairspray or something like that. Or you can buy spray bottles really, really cheap at like Walmart, you know, like $1. And spray water droplets on it, not to so much that, you know, it's dripping, but just so you get droplets, and that would be a beautiful photo. I have done that myself. And I love that you shared the process. That is just exceptional. So thank you for doing that for us. And I thought this one was really pretty. I really like the lighting, how it's hitting certain spots. That is fantastic. But this, you know, far and above, way beyond, I swear. I think this has to be my favorite picture of the week. I don't even think that you needed to use that filter. But I do like it. I do like it. I think it's a gorgeous photo, and definitely keep this for your portfolio, and you're going to want to have a section that's still life for sure. And again, sharing your process, that's just the best. I love it. And you got a lot of positive feedback there. Okay, and next is Antoine. Okay, Antoine is sharing his art. And gosh, I gotta tell you, all the gold on your little turtle here. This just reminds me of an artist named Jeff Koons. And he did, gosh, this is like going back into art history, but he did a sculpture of Michael Jackson with a monkey that was all white and gold, and it was just fabulous. And it kind of references a sculpture from ancient Greece of Athena that's all white and real gold and everything, and you know, because she was a goddess. But this totally gives me the feeling of that. Just luxury and riches. And you did a really nice job with your background, highlighting this work. This one is my favorite of the two, definitely, because we can see, you know, we're not running into the edge as we are with this one. And then this one, trying to remember. Hold on. So this, you say, was coral in your title. So I'm not sure if this is like a man-made artwork that you created, but it is an interesting composition. So I would love to hear more about that one, Antoine. But I have to say, well done. And I love how these are all coming out so personal. Okay, and here is Cody. Cody, I think you must be in another art class because you've got a sketch pad there. And this is a really nice shadow that you created. Overall, it's nice. It's a nice composition, good shapes. I don't know if that's like interesting enough for a portfolio image, but this one is. Even though I'm not even sure what's going on with this can. Is it like something that was, you could put gifts inside or candy for Christmas? It looks like it's maybe black and gold or green and gold. And then I would patch tool this little spot out because I think it's distracting. Patch tool or clone stamp in Photoshop. But this lighting, oh, you've got to use that again. That is gorgeous. It's so neon. It's really interesting. And that would work really well with, you know, a figure. So, you know, it has this appearance of glow. And then this one is, you know, kind of cracks me up because here you are pulling out your art supplies and, you know, you had good intentions and I like the lighting of it. But other than that, you did work with the wood grain to create, you know, direction. But I just, you know, the cup I think bothers me a little bit. Kind of, I think it could have been better if it were just pencils or just paints. I mean, these are like, they look metallic, so they're really pretty and they catch the light nicely. So I would try that one again with maybe with just the pencils. Not that it's bad for, you know, what we were required to do. And here is Lauren. Okay, Lauren, I love this image. It takes me back, honestly. So this, you know, was one of my favorite movies when it came out when I was a kid. I went and saw it at the drive-in with my family. I think I was probably about 10. And this one, I actually have one of those exactly like that, and I collect old cameras. And, you know, you're into Star Wars, and I'm not sure what this book is about, but I'd like to know more about it. And I like the little bit of framing that you have going on here. So I think that this is your best image this week. Only because while, you know, the flower bouquet could have been a nice still life subject, we've got so much information in the background that it kind of takes away from the still life, if you see what I mean. So the still life should just be about that subject. But I do love seeing, you know, I can tell that you have your little self-portrait in there. That's really cute. And that's something, you know, you can still keep it within that idea, but I would get much closer and I would frame the flowers, really crop it in close. If you don't have any way to do a backdrop, you know, I think it's okay to use the windows, but definitely crop it in way closer, and I wouldn't cut off the bottom of it. You know, you got to be careful about getting the whole subject in there. And then this is a nice, I mean, it's interesting the way the lamp is reflecting on the wall, but again, to make it a still life, you really have to get in there and crop it close, because this is more about the room because there's so many background details. And I think, you know, that first one was your favorite too. But I think you did well for what the assignment was, so don't worry about that. And here goes Rachel. Rachel got into some candlelight photography. And I really like this. I really love how we're getting that glow. The wax is glowing. We're getting some glow outside of the candles. It's not super clear, but I think that that's because of the low light situation, which I think that that's okay. And I kind of like how the edge of the table is working around the subject. I don't know that you needed the cup. I think I would have just limited it to the candles just for simplicity's sake. And this is kind of mysterious, this image from this angle. I mean, you look at it at first glance, all you can really notice is the glowing parts, but then you see the flame, and so you can kind of figure it out. So it is interesting. And then this one is super bright. So I think I would take this into Camera Raw Filter and see if you can reduce the exposure. I don't know, is that a candle too? I can't tell. But I love this reflection. I love this reflection. I mean, even if you crop this and reduce the exposure, made it like a vertical image, I just don't see a need for the coffee cup over here, or teacup. But I would definitely experiment with these ideas a little bit more, because I think that they are very good ones. And coming into the next week with food photography, that candle lighting can be really gorgeous, can really warm up the feeling of a scene that is about food. You want to make that delicious. So I just wanted to mention before I close out that next week we're going to be doing an extra assignment. We're going to have a little mini portfolio submission, and that is not posted yet, but I don't want you guys to have to overdo. All it's going to be is that you have 3 folders with your favorite 3 images in each one, so that'd be a total of 9 images. And this is just getting ready for our final portfolio, because we're at midterm, but we're not going to take a test. It's just going to be, you know, a little collection of images to add to your post. So more to come about that this week, and let me know if you need anything, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye bye.